Hello and welcome to Billy Ho Sports. Just about 2 weeks away from the Kentucky Derby 150, and we've pretty much completed all the prep races. Today, I wanted to talk older horses. We have a race coming up this weekend called the Oaklawn Handicap for 4-year-olds and up. A big $1.25 million purse, 11 entries going 9 furlongs on the dirt. This video will go into my playlist, but it will be the 2024 Thoroughbred Horse Racing playlist. As always, I have my Kentucky Derby Trail playlist where you can get all the 3-year-old preps and analysis you need for the upcoming events. So just please subscribe to the channel, smash that like button for me. And in the comments, give me a 2-horse exacta box in this particular race. And let's get to it. Number 1, Highland Falls, trained by Brad Cox, ridden by Florence Giroux, is sired by Curlin. Won 2 of his 3 starts as a 3-year-old, and then won the first 50K allowance to start 2024, but was a little bit disappointing in the Santa Anita handicap, running 4th. Wasn't much of a factor at all. Didn't appear to be much interested in running that day. So he just kind of plodded along there and then picked up some pieces late. I mean, he was running dead last into the stretch and then just kind of, plodded his way for the 4th place finish. That comes to number 2, Double Crown, trained by Ray Ginter, ridden by Colby Hernandez. 4th in the Evangeline Mile, showing declining figures. I'm going to pass. Number 3, Magic Tap, is trained by Steve Asmussen, ridden by Keith Asmussen, sired by Tappet. This one did seem to be moving up the ranks last fall, running pretty solid 4th in that Pennsylvania Derby versus Saudi Crown, who won that race wire to wire. Got a 101 Brisnet speed number, then a 99 speed number in the Razorback, two prior, but the letdown was the next out in the Grade 3 Essex handicap. He broke slow and was never really in that one, so looking for a bounce back there. Is listed first in Prime Power, but I don't know. We're going to look at the past performances, so stick around, and we'll see if we can find anything there that will justify that. Now, number 4, Octane, trained by Juan Alvarado, ridden by Julian Leperoux, Razorback handicap winner, got 100 Brisnet rating for that one. That was the 3rd time in 4 starts he achieved the triple-digit number, stalked the pace most of the way, made his move into the turn, took over in the stretch to get the victory, held off some late challengers, including, I believe, Reincarnate might have been in that race. Top contender, definitely. So keep an eye on Octane. Red Route 1 is number 5, Steve Asmussen. Joel Rosario coming back again, sired by Gunrunner, came through for yours truly back at the New Orleans Classic at the Fairgrounds. I like that he was back to the 9 furlong distance, which is where he's had his most success in the past. He had a very nice ground saving trip in that race, coming from the 1 post, was able to tip outside late and get clear for the win. So I probably will be backing him once again. I don't see any reason not to, other than he doesn't seem to have that back-to-back race in his career. So that, once every 5 races he pops, but he is back to that same 9 furlong distance where he's most comfortable at. So maybe he can maybe take a step forward here. So we'll see. Number 6 is Reincarnate, trained by Bob Baffert. Will be ridden by Bob Effort's favorite guy, Juan Hernandez, sired by Good Magic, former Derby trailer in his own right. He ran 3rd most recently in the Santa Anita handicap. So it was not at Oaklawn. I misspoke earlier when I said he was in that Oaklawn race, but he was in the Santa Anita handicap. It was his first start of 2024. After a less than stellar finish to his 3-year-old season, he had a couple of mediocre efforts there late in the fall. But this was a good effort from the inside. He tipped out, saved ground on the inside, tipped out, but did not fire at 10 furlongs. That was going a mile and a quarter. So I think maybe with the cut back, he'll be better and a little more fit, being the second off the layoff. So that brings us to number 7, Guntown. Mike Maker, ridden by Ramon Vasquez, sired by Gunrunner. But big ask in this one. Only in the 80K optional claiming ranks. It's going to be too big of a jump in class. I'm going to have to pass on Guntown. Number 8 is Last Samurai. I think it's a very interesting horse. Is now with Eddie Milligan. Will be ridden by Richard Aramia. And this is a former D. Wayne Lucas horse who was run quite often per D. Wayne Lucas's as a that's kind of how he rolls as a 3-year-old. You can see the horse just steal when he wheeled back after 3 weeks rest a little while ago. He likes to run them on a schedule, and he ran a lot last year. So, but his best success of his entire 3-year-old season before he faltered late in the summer where it was this time of the year where he won both the Razorback and the Essex handicaps leading into this race. He ran career numbers back then, 100 plus, 106. We'll look at those past performances. Connections are hoping to rekindle that magic. And I at first got the feeling when D. Wayne let him go that he just about tapped everything he got out of the horse. So if he thought the horse would have done good with some rest, he probably would have kept him. But that's, we don't ever know the full story there. So anyway, number 9 is County Final. That's Saffy Joseph, ridden by Edwin Gonzalez. They're trying him on the dirt after a mixed bag of results between turf and all-weather tracks. May allow for some improvement, but just does not look near fast enough. I'm going to pass. Number 10, Skippy Longstocking, another Saffy Joseph entry, ridden by Jose Ortiz, sired by Exaggerator. Recently bounced back very nicely to win the Grade 3 Challenger with relative ease. Before that, he was did not finish DNF in the Pegasus World Cup. They pulled up. He was overheated, I believe, was the ultimate explanation. So the jockey didn't want to risk harming the horse, obviously. So he pulled him up and walked him off there. So he bounced right back and won the Challenger. So good on him for that. Finished 3rd last fall behind Cody's Wish and National Treasure in the BC Mile. Maybe the 9 furlongs might be not to his liking, but I think he's a competitor nonetheless. Number 11 is another interesting one, Instant Coffee, trained by Jose D'Angelo, ridden by Kristen Torres, was a former high hopes for the 2023 Kentucky Derby Trail. He came out after a really good 2-year-old season, defeated eventual Derby runner-up last year, 2 fills by 2.5 in the LeCompte Stakes early in January last year, but then had a very dull effort in the Louisiana Derby in his final prep. They decided to put him on the shelf. He's been there for the last 11 months. He's back almost a year later, so it's really going to be difficult to know how he'll run. He's only had 5 works in the last 6 weeks. I don't think that's bode well for fitness. I'll have to see it to believe it. So basically, that's the field for you. And let's take a look at past performances, and then we'll do some selections. Okay, so we're going a mile and an eighth, Grade 2 Oaklawn Handicap, big purse, 1.25, 4-year-olds and upward. So this is a handicap, so the weights won't be announced till Saturday, April 13th. Well, actually, that's already been announced. So I didn't actually look at the weights on any of these, but we'll touch on it because handicap sometimes gives some of these horses a little lighter weight to carry. So we'll see. Highland Falls had some decent speed figures, but I don't think they're quite good enough. The Brad Cox, though, Florent Giroux, that's a pretty good combination. They hooked up with Encino last weekend to win the Lexington. So that is what he's got going for him. Closer, so coming from the inside could save ground. Might be up for a piece, but I'm not going to include him in the final selections. Double Crown, I'm passing on. Magic Tap, this was the one you can see is rated number 1 here. Carrying one, I think he's carrying 118. So you can see Octane's carrying 120. So if it's only a couple pounds in the weight, don't pay any attention to it. If it's like 8 pounds, then you might want to look at it a little bit. But anyway, you can see all the good races he's run. He did peak with this 101, but I just the finishing, this 99 he got, this one right here, he was bothered, but he didn't really. I watched the race. I didn't really see anything terrible. So, but First Mission is a really good horse. The pace was fair enough. So I really don't know what caused the slight decline in form, but maybe he bounces back, or maybe 93 is his number because he's got 2 of those. So in those allowance races. So I'm not factoring him in my final selections as of now. I'll need something to change my mind. I just don't. I think there's better. Octane for one looks a little better. I mean, he won the Razorback. He's got grade 3 experience, just the same as Magic Tap. He has this Pennsylvania Derby grade 1, but he didn't really fare very well there. 4th by 6, which is all right, I guess. But anyway, the back-to-back 100s. But this is what I didn't like. That's a poor trainer record with that much time away. Juan Alvarado and Julian Leperoux. So Octane's kind of on the outside looking in. You'll see he won't be included in the selections, but this one will. Red Route 1. Here's the race. Look at he got the pace he needed, obviously, very swift, so he could close. I think he'll get a fair enough pace where he'll be there. I don't know if the pace will be fast enough for him to close, but I think it might, because he has closed. He closed in the West Virginia Derby with just a very moderate pace. So I think he can get it done. I think it's just the added 16th of a mile distance that gives him the edge. So we're in his wheelhouse. I'm hoping he can run it back. We'll have to see, but he's definitely going to be one of my picks. Reincarnate, I actually like this a little bit. This was just his first off of the layoff from the fall of last year, where he did not run very well in this turf, did not take to the turf at all after the Penn Derby. I guess Bob Effort was experimenting with him and didn't like that idea. So they came back and they ran him at 1.25 miles, and he ran hard. He was in second right there down the stretch in this grade 1 Santa Anita Handicap. So I think backing him up to 1.125 miles is going to suit him just fine. Bob Baffert is setting him up to win this race. So he's going to be on the list. I'm passing on Guntown, like I said. Last Samurai. This was the one I mentioned before. I know it was 6 by 13 in this Oaklawn mile, but he'd been off since the Whitney where he got blown out. And you can see when Dwayne had him, how often he was running, just steadily, no time off from all the way back in November. He ran November, December, January, February, March, April, May, and that's not even a break. He came right back in July. I mean, May, June, July, he did get, I guess, a few days off, but you can see he ran much improved. And that was a grade 1 Stephen Foster, where he had some serious competition. So if he can rekindle this magic where he was banging off these 105s, 101s, he could steal this race. So I'm going to keep an eye on the tote board, and if there's some significant value there, it's going to have my interest. Now, county final, I was passing on that one. Here's Skippy Longstocking. This was the overheated, pulled him up off the side of the road to put some water in the radiator, so to speak, but came right back with Gaffleon up, which they are switching to Jose Ortiz, but equally good jockey, high speed figures at the distance. And he looked really good with this comeback race. I think he'll bump it up to about 100. He should be right there. Early pressing speed is what you want. I like the way he runs. He's got some big 106, 103 numbers, 104 in the past. that BC Dirt Mile. He was right behind National Treasure and Cody's Wish. Tough enough for me. This is Instant Coffee. We were talking about him, how he came out in the Breeders' Futurity, fourth place. Then he won this grade 2 jockey club back in the fall of his 2-year-old season, and then came in and went right back at it in the LeCompte. But then he finished his sixth and not very good, flattened out in the at a mile and a 3/16. So I don't know what they were thinking by putting him on the shelf. But Brad Cox, so to speak, I'll never question him as a trainer. But now it's Brittany Russell had picked him up, and then in February, and then now he's with Jose D'Angelo. But like I said, I'm going to have to see it. It's really just not something that I'd be interested in, that much time off, etc. We've reviewed the replays earlier and analyzed some past performances. It leaves me with the top three of Red Route 1, Skippy Longstocking, and Reincarnate. I do think Octane is fairly close. And I did say, like, after reviewing the 2024 debut from Last Samurai, he ran pretty hard for 3/4 of a mile and then just kind of gave up, and he was backed off to fight another day. He also had a workout of a mile leading up to this. So I think it's possible he can compete. Breezed at a mile recently and then another work. But I'm probably going to back Red Route 1 once again. And Skippy and Reincarnate right there underneath. Last Samurai as well. I'll probably have some sort of box with all of them in there. But that'll do it for the preview. Hope you enjoyed it. Oaklawn Handicap this weekend. Good race. Check it out. Check out all the Kentucky Derby content. I got more coming out shortly. I got a live long shots is what we'll call it, coming out very soon. Be on the lookout. We'll see you soon.